One of the highlights of 2 Corinthians chapter 12 is when Paul writes about his thorn in the flesh. We don't know much about this thorn, what it really is. It may be related to his eyes, which apparently are problematic. We don't know for sure, but we do know that Paul calls it a messenger of Satan that has been sent to buffet him, to beat him. Thus, it's some form of torment in Paul's life. Here's what he says in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 8 and 9. Concerning this thing I pleaded with the Lord 3 times that it might depart from me. And he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, and my strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore most gladly I will rather boast in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. So Paul had pleaded with the Lord 3 times, asking him to remove this thorn. But all 3 times, God's response was, No, my grace is sufficient for you. Each time, God said that he's giving Paul grace, unmerited favor, the desire and power to do God's will, so that Paul can bear up in the midst of this unwanted hardship. God added that his strength is made perfect in weakness. In other words, Paul's weakness provides the opportunity for God to show himself strong in Paul's life. As a result, Paul now declares that he gladly boasts in his infirmities and his weaknesses so that Christ's power can be highlighted in his life. Sometimes God doesn't answer our prayers the way we'd like. We don't always know why, but we do know that God has his reasons. In Paul's case, Paul shares just prior to this passage that he had been given this thorn in the flesh to keep him humble. After all, Paul had been shown the most amazing revelations. In reflection, have you or I repeatedly asked God to remove some source of pain in our lives, only to find it's still there? Is it possible that God is allowing this source of pain for our ultimate benefit and for his ultimate glory? No matter what challenges you and I are facing, are we convinced that God's grace is sufficient for us? And lastly, when we're weak, are we asking God to show himself strong? May God give us the kind of humility that we see here in Paul. Thanks for listening.